When you think of a sports car, what comes to mind? Dynamic performance? Racing capability? Top speed? So yeah, a sports car should be fast. Really fast. That's the whole point. But sadly, that's not always the case. Hello and welcome to First Lap. In this video, we'll be looking at 6 of the slowest sports cars ever made. And number 1 is so disappointing, I don't think it even qualifies to be called a sports car. So, stick around to find out what car it is. Let's go. The Honda S2000 had it all. Superior driving dynamics, a high revving engine, and good product quality. But it did miss out on one crucial feature: speed. Its top speed was a disappointing 149 miles per hour. It might be impressive for a roadster, but it doesn't raise a brow in the world of sports cars. Initially equipped with a 2-liter VTEC 4-cylinder engine generating a measly 240 horsepower, the S2000 can sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.8 seconds. For a sports car, that is a little bit subpar. However, it was enough to keep Honda competitive with rivals, but it was really expensive at the time of its debut. The S2000 started around $30,000 in 1999. For comparison, a competitor at the time, the BMW Z3 2.8, started around $36,000. But, well, it still rang bells to the right people who argued that it was enjoyable to drive and so reactive it could do anything your brain wants it to. All I know is, I still want one. It was Smart's first and only attempt to create a sports car. Did it do well? Not quite. The Smart Roadster was praised for its funky body design, compact size, and the fact that it was basically a road-legal toy car. The Roadster was designed with a 700cc turbocharged engine, which could generate 60 horsepower or 80 horsepower in the more upgraded models. Oh yeah, right, you guessed it. With such horsepower, the performance was terrible. It took 15 seconds to reach 0 to 60 miles per hour. 15! I'm sorry, Smart, but not many people have the patience to wait that long. If continued, it could reach a top speed of about 109 miles per hour. It came in 2 different versions, the Roadster and the Roadster Coupe. Both featured 2 doors, 2 seats, and a retractable roof, and weighed 1,742 pounds. The last one built before production was discontinued is at the Mercedes-Benz Museum. All in all, the Roadster was a nice drive and had excellent handling. Smart would go on and sell around 43,000 units. In 2005, Top Gear even named it their Fun Car of the Year. So you see, sometimes slow and steady does win. Well, sometimes. What's a Ferrari doing on our list? I thought the big red Italian company only makes the best cars. Not entirely. The Mondial 8 was a big red-hot mess. And if we're going to be honest, it's not the only car that underperformed from the company. But we're going to hassle the Mondial 8 a little bit, probably because it was the worst of the worst. This is a shocking realization, mainly because it was Ferrari's successor to the popular 208/308 GT4 Coupe. In addition to its not-so-great aerodynamics, the Mondial 8's engine was a total letdown. The V8 engine could only generate 214 horsepower, and it was a long, painful wait to get this car to accelerate from 0 to 60. It took 8.2 seconds. That is, of course, if the car survives a breakdown before it gets to that point. It makes you wonder, what happened to the Mondial? The Italian company was facing strict emission laws from the government at that time, which might have affected the success of the Mondial. Still, I picture disappointed customers will not buy that excuse. Most people say it's the worst Ferrari ever made. It's slow, ugly, and super expensive. The Mondial was sold at $64,000. And just for comparison, a Porsche 930 Turbo, which was a lot faster, was going for $38,000. Though the speed would later be improved to reach 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds, this still wasn't enough to keep up with the Ferrari legacy and the competition at that time. The BRZ is one of those cars that could easily drift and offer sheer excitement to drivers. But was it slow? You bet. It took this 2,700-pound car 7.7 seconds to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour. And for a car that was made for enthusiasts, this would be very disappointing. What the BRZ does best is carving corners, coupled with incredible responsiveness on the road. But sadly, we are here for straight line performance, and the Subaru crushed the hopes of all customers who were looking forward to this. And the torque, sadly, is a big letdown, probably because it didn't come with a turbocharger. While the 0 to 60 shouldn't be the only reason why a car should be said to underperform, the thing is that the Subaru was expected to compete with the 370Z, but it couldn't even handle the 350Z. But still, the BRZ is one of the most recognizable cars in the automobile industry. It was even featured on the front of Need for Speed. Yeah, I see what they did there. It might look like a controversial pick, but don't get carried away by the charming looks. The Miata was slow. The first version of the Miata could only produce as little as 88 horsepower, and even the upgraded models which generated 130 horsepower took 9 seconds to get from 0 to 60. Now that's slow, but it still came home with the numbers. Before production was discontinued, Mazda could brag about the over 430,000 units that were sold. The reason? While the Miata will struggle to win any straight line races, the car only weighed 2,300 pounds and has a 50-50 weight distribution. The steering ratio was also very responsive. The gearbox is a thing of beauty with the gear shifts, very direct and buttery smooth. You can easily take on any corner at full throttle. Plus, you didn't have to spend a fortune to own one of these. As they say, getting into trouble in a corner driving a Miata is very hard. Even the most recent Miatas are still not overdosing on power. Overall, the Miata was an exciting drive, but considering the industry standards of how fast sports cars should go, I'm afraid the Miata doesn't quite hit the mark, but I'm sure most people don't mind. The SA322 is an old British car, and the slowest in the history of sports cars. I wonder why it's named sports, with such ridiculous performance. It takes 30 seconds for this car to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour. 30 seconds. It makes you want to apologize to the other vehicles on our list. Why was it painfully slow? The answer, as always, lies under the hood. It was designed with a 320cc two-stroke motorcycle engine, which could only produce 15 horsepower. I think an actual horse can produce more horsepower and accelerate faster. To its credit, the SA322 is incredibly lightweight. It weighs 600 pounds, probably because it's a tiny car and it didn't come with a lot of features. For example, the SA322 does not even have a fuel gauge. So, it's made our list today, and it's safe to say it's earned its spot. Now it's your turn. Which of these slow sports cars amazed you the most? Let us know in the comments. And while you're at it, leave us a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit subscribe for more videos like this. As always, thanks for watching.